Hi and welcome to Outwell and to the Birdland 4E from our Deluxe collection. This is a compact tunnel design tent which is aimed to sleep up to 4 people, which has a good sized bedroom at the back and a good sized sealed living area inside as well, which we'll show you in detail shortly. So with the tent being from our Deluxe collection, you'll find the fly sheet we're using on here is our Outex 4000. This is a good quality taffeta polyester that you would expect to last a good long time. It's been fully PU coated on the inside. It has fully taped seams throughout as well, making it completely waterproof with a hydrostatic head of 4,000 millimetres. So even in the heaviest of rain, you should stay nice and dry inside the tent. The frame that we use on here is made up of a steel frame, at the steel pole rather, at the front here, and then the rest of the poles are all Duratec fiberglass. So what this does is it gives you a real good solid structure, even with the use of just one single steel pole, because obviously wind against the side of the tent here is going to not be able to move that pole at all. The fiberglass poles themselves, as I mentioned, are Duratec, so you just see the detail on the outside here. They look a little bit different to standard black fiberglass poles, and that's simply because these have a protective sheath around the outside of them, just to make them that little bit more strong in high wind conditions. In terms of setting the tent up, it's nice and easy because you also have colour-coded sleeves to match the poles, which you can just see here and here. So as I say, when it comes to setting it up, you're not going to be able to get the wrong pole in the wrong place. Some other nice features that we use on here, we have large ventilation panels on the sides of the tent and across the back as well at the bedroom area. And under here, there's a mesh panel that's going to allow cool, fresh air into the tent. If it gets a little bit too chilly, we can simply take that away just by removing the Velcro tabs and pushing down like so. Some other nice features here is that we have our wind stabilizer system attached to the tent, and I'll just show you how that works. So when you're setting the tent up, all you have to do is wrap these around the frame and fasten into position like so. You'll find that there's one at the top and at the bottom of all the poles all the way around the tent, and this is where we have our guy lines attached. So then when we take our guy lines out and peg them into place, what that does is pulls all of the material of the tent against the frame, making it much more taut and therefore much more stable. In fact, we've tested this to withstand a force 9 on the Beaufort scale. So in terms of bad weather, both rain and wind, you should be nice and comfortable in the tent. We have some reflective points all the way around the tent as well, so in the dark when you have your head torch on or just a standard torch, these will light up so you'll be able to see these. We also then use luminous guy lines all the way around the tent, so hopefully you should not trip over these quite as easily when it's a little bit darker. Each guy line also has its own retainer, so when it comes to packing down the tent, we simply wrap the guy lines up and pop them in here so that the next time you come to use the tent, the guy lines are easily accessible. We also provide you with our easy pegging system on this tent, and that is where we have 3 different styles of pegs. So we have the solid steel anchor peg that would be used for the 4 corners of the tent, and these would be pegged through the grey pegging points. We have the black plastic peg for all of the black pegging points around the side, and we then have the luminous peg here, which is to be used with the luminous guy lines. So as I say, the easy pegging system, making it nice and easy for you to make sure that you get the right peg in the right place. Coming around the front of the tent, a nice feature here is this front canopy, which covers the front door here. So obviously that's going to give you a good bit of shelter if it is a little bit drizzly. It's not going to allow any water into the tent. You'll also find that at the front of the tent here we have a full mesh door, which is just rolled away at the moment. And what that allows for is great ventilation within the tent. We have large ventilation panels on both sides, but we also have this full mesh door, so you can leave the waterproof door rolled up, and you can then zip down the mesh door, like I say, to allow for great ventilation, but hopefully keeping out those unwanted bugs. So earlier on I mentioned that the tent is called the Birdland 4E, and I'm sure you've been wondering what the E stands for. What that is for our extended canopy system. So in here, rolled into this door at the moment, we do have an extended canopy, and we'll just show you now how that works. So with the tent, we supply you with 2 upright steel poles, just like these ones here, and also a couple of guy lines to be used to fix the door into this sort of canopy position. Now the extended canopy system actually just involves this piece of material that's already attached to the door, and all we have to do is simply just unzip this down the sides, and we can change this position either to come straight down here just to give you a little bit more shade or shelter, or we can also have it going out the front as a double length extended canopy. So here you can see that what we have created is a good sheltered and private area. Now, with the use of 2 additional upright poles and 2 guy lines, we can now take this piece of material out, as I said earlier on, to create a double length extended canopy. So the front door of the tent is of a good size. It's nice and wide to be able to get all of your kit in and out of the tent. And even though it's quite a compact size tent, it's still a very good head height as well. I mean, I'm particularly tall here, and I can still pretty much walk in and out of the tent, no problem at all. Just have to duck a little bit here, but as I say, I am quite tall. Inside the tent, I can stand up, no problem at all. You can see above me here, I've got quite a lot of head height. I'm around 6'3", so if you're of an average height, you should certainly find it plenty spacious enough in here. I think that's also accentuated by the large windows that we have on either side of the tent, allowing lots of light in here. If you do want a little bit more privacy or a little bit less sunlight coming in, each window has its own curtain, so that can either just be brought halfway up if you're just sitting, or obviously it can be fully closed as well. And I'll just show you here the mesh ventilation panel that we talked about earlier on from the outside ventilation point of view. One thing you won't be able to see from the angle that you're at is that we have a lantern hanging point just at the top here. Then we have cable ties which run down to the front here, which you can see we then have a cable entry point quite clearly marked, and it's got a zipper in here, so that would just allow you to bring your cables in through the tent without having to have the door fully zipped closed. The ground sheet in the tent is fully sealed from front to back and side to side as well, and it's bathtub in style, so you can just see that it comes up at the edges here. Now what that's going to allow is for no drafts to get into the tent. It's going to keep out things like dirt and dust and sand and things like this, and more importantly, hopefully keep out those unwanted bugs as well. So at the back is where the bedroom is, and as I mentioned earlier on, it's a good spacious sized bedroom that can sleep up to 4 people. A nice thing here is that this actually comes pre-attached, so the first time that you come to use a tent, the first time you pitch it, the bedroom's already there, so that's a job you don't need to worry about doing. How we attach it is using our wave-shaped hanging point system, which is just this mesh that you can see on here. Now, whilst this looks very nice and it's a nice design, it actually has a good function as well of taking any of the stress off of the seam at the top of the bedroom on here. There is a stow pocket for the door here, and you can see it's just one large opening door that we've just tucked away at the moment. While we're down here, we'll just show you that we have some handy mesh storage pockets in the corner, which are ideal for smaller personal possessions. And then across the back, we have the large mesh ventilation panel, which corresponds to the outside panel on the tent as well. We have a few optional extras available for the tent, including a fleece carpet that you can see in this area here, giving you a little bit more comfort underfoot. There's also a footprint available to go under the tent, so when you pitch the tent, you can pitch it on top of that footprint, so that when it comes to taking down the tent, the bottom of your ground sheet is going to be dry and clean. There's also a front extension available for the tent as well, just giving you that little bit extra storage space on the outside. So there you have it, that's all the features of our Birdland 4E from our Deluxe collection. Thanks very much for watching.